guys, my name is Gene. You guys are watching Lubed for February the 18th, 2024, Season 3, Episode 41, Take 2. That's right, the first one did not turn out very good at all. I totally deleted it off YouTube. Too many mistakes. The intro didn't come on my armchair GM, my face was ballooned way up. I was just like, oh, this is a disaster. So I just said, screw it, scrap it, redo it. So I do apologize for coming on at such a weird time when I said I was going to come on at 4. Well, I came on a little bit later. But I definitely knew it had to be a redo. So on this episode, we're going to discuss the two games that was the Oilers and Blues lousy game and a decent game in Dallas as they defeated the Stars in overtime there. We're also going to get into Armchair GM. I'm going to give you one of the trade suggestions that I feel would be a very good one for the Edmonton Oilers to consider. I'm still leaning towards the goaltending aspect of things. I just don't know if Skinner and Picard are your go-to going into the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. So I'm leaning towards a goaltender, and we're going to get into that on this episode. And then we're also going to dive into the game that is tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Mountain. That's right, it's an afternoon game, and you may be wondering why it's an afternoon game. That is because it is President's Day in the States. Up here in Canada, we know it is Family Day. So statutory holidays in North America, essentially. And it will be an afternoon game. And it would be a good game to see. I would love to go to Mullet Arena to catch an Oilers game. It would be just a very... Because out here in the Okanagan, we have the Okanagan Event Center where I go and watch the Young Guns tournaments. We also have Prospera Place, and they're smaller venues, so you get to see an up close look no matter where you are. So yeah. So let's dive into this episode. Hopefully it won't have any problems like I had on the previous one, because I had to scrap that one. I was just like, I'm not gonna release this, so I had to do a redo. This one I'm thinking is gonna be much better. All right. Well, they played the Blues. What was it? Yesterday was Saturday. They played them, I guess, Thursday night. Yeah, it would be Thursday night. And it was not a very good game. Not a very good game at all. Not impressed with the way they played. It was a crappy game all around. Every aspect of the game was crappy. It was just the goaltending sucked, defense sucked, and the offense was just, well, the offense, okay, was they got 3 goals. Technically, 3 goals should win you a game in the NHL. But when you're letting in what they let in, and they were very, very undisciplined as they gave up 8 power play attempts to them. So it was not very good. Let's get into that right now. And we'll start off with the scoring summary of that game. We'll start off with the scoring summary of this game before we dive into anything else here. And it started off in the first period. Robert Thomas would open the scoring for St. Louis, his 19th of the year from Nick Leddy and Pavel Buchnevich. 1-0 St. Louis. Leon Draisaitl would tie it on the power play. His 26th of the year, 1-1, and that was at 13:51. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins would top off the period. The Oilers would have a 2-1 lead into the second period, and they're looking okay. But in the second period, they just went really flat, as it was just a series of goals by St. Louis. 4 unanswered goals, starting with Jake Neighbors, his 19th at 109. Torrey Krug at 837. His second of the year from Jake Neighbors and Matthew Ketzel. And you notice a lot of names I'm going to repeat a lot, because a lot of guys had multi-point games on the St. Louis Blues here. Jordan Kyrou from Jake Neighbors again, and Robert Thomas. That would be his 18th on the power play. Lots of power plays they got. And then Pavel Buchnevich 18th, once again, on the power play. Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou would assist. At this point in time, it's 5-2 at the end of the second. I'm not having much faith on the Oilers team this particular after or evening game. However, one bright spot, Corey Perry would get his first as an Oiler from Brett Kulik and Connor McDavid. Close it a little bit of a gap, 5-3, but it would be an empty netter by Brendan Saad at 17:07. That would be the last goal of the game. The game-winning goal would have been Jordan Kyrou's goal in the second period at 15:32. So, yeah, there you have it. Not a very good outing. Let's go into the game breakdown right now. As we'll start with, I just got to fix a few things here. We'll start off with the shots on goal, which was 38-30 for the Oilers. So Oilers still were out shooting them. It's just they were just not playing very disciplined defense, discipline in general. Giveaways, this was an odd one. I had to really look at this one. But apparently the Edmonton Oilers did not give away the puck once in this whole game, which is, I don't wonder if that stat is correct. Apparently St. Louis gave it away 6 times, but the Oilers did not even do one giveaway, which is kind of weird in a 6-3 game. Sorry, a 6-3 game. Okay, then we get into the power play. The Oilers were 1 for 3, 33%. The penalty kill, actually, considering that they gave up so many power play opportunities, but again, when you're giving up so much power play opportunities, you're also exhuming a lot more energy. So that will always kick you in the butt one way or another. Even if you're doing good on your penalty kill, you're still wasting a lot of energy chasing the guys around trying to make sure that no goals. But they only allowed 2 goals out of the 8, which was pretty decent. A 75% power or penalty kill. Not bad. I won't complain about it, but why did they have so many penalty kills? That's where I'll complain. Face-off win percentage. The Oilers really struggled on the dot here, as the Blues were 58.1 on the dot. Really getting schooled on the dot. Leon was getting kicked out of the circle a lot of times and complaining about it, but I don't know. I don't know what he had to complain about. I mean, if you haven't been able to figure out how to do a face-off properly at this point in time in your career, then, you know, I don't know. Goals against average and save percentage. Skinner, 5 goals on 24 shots, an 8.28. So you can tell that just a few weeks ago, he was one of my stars on every single episode for about 5 or 6 straight episodes. You could tell he's slipping down, and that's why I'm going into my armchair GM today, talking about a goaltender that I think we should try to grab, and we will get into that shortly. So yeah, not a very good outing for Stuart Skinner. I'm not going to award any stars. I just was not happy with nobody on this team today. So I decided, you know what? I'm not going to award any stars on this game. If I am going to give any stars, I'm going to give it to the Blues, Robert Thomas, Jake Neighbors, and Jordan Binnington. Robert Thomas had 1 goal, 2 assists. Jake Neighbors, the same thing. And Jordan Binnington, 921 save percentage. And that's just going off of ESPN. But yeah, like, you can't really give an Oilers a star after that game and so many penalties and all that. I was not impressed. Not impressed at all. But it is what it is, right? So unfortunately, they lose by a count of 6-3. And when they were leaving St. Louis to get into Dallas for the next game, they left in a winter storm, which is kind of funny, as the Sportsnet crew were just in winter bliss in St. Louis, and then literally flew an hour and a half later to a nice warm place in Dallas, which is, wow, a contrast, if you could say the least. And it was also a contrast in the game that they played, as they definitely played a much, much better game against the Dallas Stars, winning this one 4-3 in overtime. Bugstad, a sweet little wrister. Can't say enough. They definitely woke up from whatever was not going good for them in that first game against St. Louis. As far as this game goes, let's get into I should do the scoring summary first. Sorry, I'll get into the scoring summary and then we'll get into the game breakdown. So it would start off no goals in the first period at all. Started off in the second period at 1:08 when Mason Marchment would get a power play goal, giving Dallas the 1-0 lead. Then Evan Bouchard would tie it at 2:03, just literally a minute later. This was a game of like quick catch-ups all night long. So like literally less than a minute, Evan Bouchard would catch up. Thomas Hurley would get his 14th from Matt Duchene and Miro Heiskanen. It's 2-1 Dallas at 4:47. And at 6:55, Corey Perry would get his 6th of the year, second as an Oiler from Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. And we're at 2-2, just like that. Then it would be Derek Ryan getting a shorthanded goal from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at 18:42 of the second period, only to have Matt Duchene at 19:02, like less than a minute later, like 30 seconds later, on the power play, getting it from Mason Marchment and Thomas Harley. And I'm frustrated here. I'm going, here we go into a second period where it is 3-3. Are the Oilers going to win this game? Or are they like, what's going on with this team? Third period would have no scoring. So all scoring was done in the second period. And then we would go to overtime where Evan Bouchard, because the Dallas Stars took a late penalty in the third period, and basically the Oilers had a full power play going into the overtime. Evan Bouchard would get the power play goal to kill it 30 seconds into the game, or into the overtime. And that was from Leon Draisaitl. Your count is 4-3. The Oilers defeat one of the heavily favored teams to do some damage in the playoffs this year, the Dallas Stars. As far as the game breakdown goes, shots on goal were 27-24 for the Dallas Stars. Giveaways, 11-5 for the Stars. So again, this is one of those rare games that the Oilers had less giveaways, but yet actually won it. It seems like the more times that they have less giveaways, they've been losing those games. But this time they actually pulled out a win. So the giveaways were more for the Dallas Stars in this one. The power play was 1 for 4 for 25%. Penalty kill was 2 for 3 for 33%. So Dallas was able to get 2 power play goals on the 3 that they had. So a little bit on the weaker side for the Oilers as far as the power play goes. Face-off win percentage, the Oilers and Stars were very even in this stat here. 50.7, less than, like basically 50-50 if you really think about it. I mean, if you round it up, it's 51-49, but come on, who's really counting here? Very close. Goals against average and save percentage, a very respectable 3 goals and 24 saves for an .889 save percentage. Considering he's your backup, I would consider that kind of respectable. But again, it is one of those things that the Oilers should consider addressing. Now, I know we're hearing Tanev and we're hearing all this thing going on, but we'll see what happens. My 3 stars, Evan Bouchard for the game-winning goal, Leon Draisaitl, and Corey Perry. Definitely had a presence. Up next, they take on the Yotes in Mullet Arena. 2 p.m. Mountain Time tomorrow. Again, it's President's Days in the States tomorrow, and it's Family Day here in Canada, so statutory holidays across North America. And yeah, we go on from there. And once again, like I said, guys, goaltending, I think, is the thing that needs to be addressed with this team. I don't get me wrong, I think Tanev would be a great fit, but I'm just a little concerned having Skinner and Picard going into the playoffs. I hope that they can make a push, and I really, really hope that they can make a push for the player that I'm going to talk about right now. This is going to be, for the Oilers to obtain him, there's a lot of obstacles in the way. And I'm not saying that this is an easy grab, by no means. And we're going to go over some of the key notes here of what it would take for the Oilers to get Marc-Andre Fleury. We know he's clutch. We know when it comes to playoff time, he is clutch. He took Vegas in their inaugural year to the Cup Finals. So, yeah, he's clutch. Let's go into the obstacles that are going to be that the Oilers have to face in order to acquire him, and some of the key notes that he brings to the table. So we're going to start off with the first thing is he's signed till the end of this season at $3.5 million per year with a full no movement clause. So 100% it's a rental. So whatever we give up, we don't have him for next year, okay? So you got to take that into consideration. The other obstacle we're going to be facing is several teams, including the Leafs, the Avs, and the Canes are vying for his services. So right there, those are teams that are probably in all-in mode. And we know Toronto, they're going to give away every single thing that they can possibly throw at him to get him. So it's going to be a hard grab to get. Not to mention, like I said, he controls his fate. If he doesn't want to come to Edmonton, he's not going to go to Edmonton. But when you have a guy named Connor McDavid and a guy named Leon Draisaitl on your team, it might be a little bit more tempting to consider Edmonton as an option. He has never, this is one of those promising stats, he's never been below 900 in his career. Never once he's had a season where he was below 900. He's always been a plus 900 player, which just shows you his fortitude, his work ethic, his ability, and he's still carrying that with Minnesota this year. Stanley Cup champion, 2009, 2016, 2017. He was also a finalist back in 2018. And he also won Olympic gold back in 2010. So, does he have winning pedigree? 100% he has winning pedigree. Now, the cost for him. Now, you guys are going to think, wow, you're out to lunch to give up this much. But I think you have to considering what he is capable of doing. And I think the cost is going to be very expensive, and it's a rental. But I would still do it for the fact that, I think he could get us, I think he could be the last ticket to get us a Stanley Cup. And the cost would be Philip Broberg, Warren Fogle, a first, a third, and a seventh. And that might not even be enough because Toronto, who knows what they throw at him. But I would definitely like to see Marc-Andre Fleury wearing the orange, blue, and orange, or blue and gold, or blue and orange and blue, whatever. Definitely like to see him in as an Oiler. I hope that they make a push for him. I understand that they're definitely making a heavy push for Tanev right now. I hear Jordan Eberle's in the conversation. Jake Gunzel was in the conversation, but he got hurt just the other day, so I don't know if he is. I think Marc-Andre Fleury would be fabulous for the Oilers, and we need to go in to the playoffs with a little bit better goaltending than what we have. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, up next is the Yotes. Tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. Mountain, 1 p.m. Standard for me over here in BC. Mullet Arena. I would love to check out a game with the Yotes in Mullet Arena. I think that would be a fabulous, fabulous night. But this team is a team that is not playoff bound. They are a weaker team. It's also a reunion of sorts to Nick Bugstad, who we traded from Arizona to come to us last year to play in the playoffs, and then he went back and re-signed with Arizona. So it's another kind of a reunion there in regards to that. As far as the Coyotes go, they're going to go into this game with a record of 23, 26, and 4. Their home record is 15, 12, and 0. And in their last 10, they are 2, 7, and 1. They've lost the last 8. So they're right now struggling. The Oilers, 32, 18, and 1. Away record is 15, 12, and 0. And they are on a 1-game winning streak. Doesn't that sound odd saying a 1-game winning streak? Oh, like I just missed that 12-game, 13-game. But yeah, a 1-game winning streak, and that's it. Stuart Skinner is expected to be behind the pipes. Hopefully he has a better outing than he did in Dallas. 24, 12, and 1, 256 goals against average, 906 save percentage with 2 shutouts. Matt Valletta, who has not played at all this year, is who the score has listed as the probable goalie. So he has a clean record. He's never played, and we'll see what he brings to the table. As far as some of the stats go for Arizona, they're not really up there at all. Their best stat is their shooting percentage, where they're tied for 8th at 10.7. And then their power play is 15, so it's in the middle. And then after that, it's all high as far as their stats go. As far as the Oilers stats go, they're definitely creeping down into some good territory with 5th on goals, 3rd on shots on goal, 4th on power play percentage, 8th on the faceoffs, 11th on shooting percentage, 11th on goals allowed, 4th on shots on goals allowed, 21st on penalty minutes, and tied for 15th for the penalty kill. Where the penalty kill, they really managed to go down, because I think early in the year they were 32nd on the penalty kill. So they've really, really cleaned that up since Knobloch and Coffey have taken over. So we'll see. We will see what happens to this team and what they can actually do. It should be a good game. Let's get into final thoughts. If any of you guys have any comments or anything, I can answer them right now. If not, we will move on. And let's just see. Doesn't appear to be any comments here. So I'm just going to leave it at that for tonight. It should be a good afternoon game tomorrow against the Yotes. We'll see if this team is going to be in Arizona much longer. There's just so much stuff that is going on with this team that I don't know if they're going to survive, but hopefully they do. And other than that, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up here. So those of you who are watching this channel for the very first time and enjoy the content I bring, please consider liking and subscribing. As for the rest of you guys who have been there through thick and thin, I do appreciate your support, and we will talk to you Tuesday when I do the next episode of Lubed. We're going to report on the Arizona game and hopefully report some good thoughts on that Arizona game. All right, guys, I am out of here.